What's up, guys?
Happy Monday.
Got it right this time. I said Friday last time.
I did, and it was Thursday.
It's all good.
I need you. That's good music, man. I like our intro music and
It's good, bro.
everything it stands for. We got a great one today.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
We're gonna tell the subject. We're gonna give a disclaimer here because we're idiots. But we're I want to tell the subject so everyone's clear, and then I kind of want to dive into this weekend and hanging out with some friends and some past clients / great friends of ours, and kind of where this sprued up, because this is definitely not your typical day $1 $0 podcast, right? So today we took a ton of women's questions over the weekend as far as their dating questions, primarily 30 and older. Because there's definitely a lot of riffraff out there about how unimpressed women are with men, but then we also hear it from our side. Well, when we have guys that are friends that are single or clients, we kind of hear their banter. But so topic today is literally predicated on all of these questions that we got in over the weekend, and we're gonna go line by line questions. Some of them are funny, some of them are and we're gonna answer every single one of them. And again, so disclaimer is, look, we're idiots, okay? We're going to do the best that we can.
Let's get that out there right now.
We're idiots. You don't necessarily have to listen to anything that we say. Secondly, just so this is out there as well, like, no, we don't think we're going to be answering for all men today.
Correct.
Right? We're going to be answering from our perspective, our opinion, maybe our history of some of our own situations. And then just our thoughts. And just like any other podcast. So if you've watched 5 minutes of our podcast before, I think it's always very clear. Hey, we stay in our lane with business, with leadership, with culture, everything that we're doing. We only speak to, what we're doing. And we only speak to, our scope of it.
Yes.
Hey, here's what works for us. And we can try to answer questions on why we think people do other things. But ultimately, we tread very carefully on that because you just don't know. And you don't know everyone's context.
Right.
So we really try to stay in our lane of like in business, right? Here's what works for us. Here's what we're doing. So even if we're doing, like if we talk about business with leads or no leads, we say, hey, we don't do that. But we're not against it if you do it. And even though we're not doing it, here's the way we're choosing to do that. And we're only going to speak to that. So if I'm beating a dead horse, Cliff Notes, we're idiots. Okay.
Well, and
we're only going to be speaking to, our personal thoughts or some of our own history.
And just so you guys know too, we're definitely pro women. We're women advocates. Will grew up
women advocates.
Will grew up in a family full of women. I grew up in a family full of women. Both of us have very strong-willed women in our lives. I have a very female dominant family. I know you do too as well. So
yeah, man.
Yeah. So we've been around it. We grew up with a lot of sisters, and we've seen these things from not only living with them, but dating and now being in long-term
not
relationships
sister,
or
like dating
correct, right. Long-term relationships and marriages. So we've been around the block a little bit. So like Will said,
I feel like we speak their language a little bit.
Yeah. We both understand them, and
But again, as I say, I feel like we speak their language. I also want to just preface, we're freaking idiots. So, and you know what, man? Here's what's funny. We were getting all these questions kind of coming in over the weekend, and we had a past client of ours / good friend. She's awesome. She was out with her friends this weekend, and they took notes, and we had like 40, right? But here's what's funny. We posted today, about like the podcast coming up, man, and like we started getting hit up by men, almost like men were worried about the podcast, or
hey, wait a minute,
worried about us speaking for them.
Whoa. Yeah, I had a guy at the gym today tell me same thing. So how are you guys answering for all men? And I'm like, we're not, bro. I said, no. But if there's two guys that can kind of understand where women are coming from and have a raw, brutal, honest answer from the guy's side, I said, I think we can do it. Plus, if you, and I said the same thing, if you've listened to our podcast at all, we just speak to what we know.
And here's the deal, men, I hope you're listening. And here's the other thing, men, if none of this sounds like you, and you're like, that ain't me, I wouldn't do that, then we're not talking to you.
Correct.
So what I don't want is a bunch of comments from men today, all these white knights telling me how heroic they are, and commenting about how none of this podcast applied to how honorable and heroic they are to women. Right. Great, dude. Hey, if that's true, phenomenal. We're just not talking to you.
Yeah.
Right? We're just going to have a little bit of fun. A lot of it's lighthearted. We're not going to be disrespectful intentionally to either side.
But you will get some honest answers.
You will, man. So prefacing, giving a little context, we've got several prior clients who were female, and a lot of them are single and
we work with a lot of them too, man.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And
we're around it a lot.
We were around a good friend this weekend, and I always give her a hard time because I always give her a hard time saying that she's like bashing men, and she's not really. She's just voicing complaints, but it's not fun if I'm not busting her chops about it. So, but then we started talking about it, and then she had just a ton of questions, and you know me, man, I feed right into that kind of stuff, and I like busting her chops a little, and then Eli was like, man, I think we just need to maybe have some more clarity on some of this.
Here,
why don't we just talk about it on the podcast? And I guess that's what's fun about having a podcast is, hey, man, leadership and chain of command and business and culture and all these things we always talk about, like super productive. But this is also a lot of fun, still productive. I hope someone can take something away from this, whether you're male or female, and just have a little bit of fun with it and be a little against the grain today and see what we can accomplish. So, after talking to her this weekend, you made that idea, so we made a post saying ask your questions, and you got a couple on your side. I got a couple of on my side, and then she had some friends give her even more. And I think we've got a conglomerate of some solid questions today.
So hopefully we can help some of you ladies out there and bridge the gap between the 2019 single people.
Last disclaimer
question for you.
I'm glad you said it. Last disclaimer.
Questions answered for you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Are you?
No, I did right there though.
Last disclaimer, then we're going to get to our questions here. We're not promising anything. So I'm glad Eli wants to mend some bridges and get some clarity. I hope so too. However, please don't rest your success. Don't rest your success on our opinion.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, if you are a solid guy and you haven't turned this off because you actually care about some of these female questions and you actually think you're a good dude, well, she told me to throw it out there, right? We have a good friend of ours who's 34 and single and very pretty girl, very successful girl, and super athletic, and for some reason, hasn't found the one. So if you're still listening, guys, and you actually give a crap about what girls think and you're waiting for these questions, might be your lucky day. Hit us up, and if you want some more information, I guess we can throw you some contact information.
I love it.
See if we can't be the new dating app.
Right, I love it.
Throwing shout outs through podcasts, be the new dating app. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
All right, well, let's dive into it. So we're gonna hit this question by question, break it down, and let's go. All right.
Do you have anything you want to say prior?
No, I'm good.
You're good to go.
We're ready to
we don't
hit
need
it.
to preface what we think.
No, we like women. Men are assholes. Blah blah blah. All right,
dude. I feel like I'm
part of the problem
marriage.
right there.
I feel like you're like Steve Harvey making that book, right? Like
blah blah blah.
He made a whole book on
women.
Hey, women, I'm protecting you.
Yeah.
If men do any of these things, here's what to watch out for. And
right,
but at the same time, I know a lot of people were talking trash when Steve Harvey made that book, but honestly, didn't affect me. If you're a solid guy and you're true to who you are, and if someone doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. If they do, they do.
It's true, man. That's one of the that's one thing about being a guy that actually does respect women and you care about their feelings is you do have to listen to what they're saying. You're like, yeah, there's a lot of bullshit out there. There's a ton of bullshit out there.
And I'm as much as I'm a female cheerleader, whatever we're calling it today. There is this piece to where women are screwing themselves.
Yes, they are.
With how some of these women are acting on social media. So, but we're gonna get to the cookie later.
We'll get into it.
We're gonna save the cookie for last.
We're
gonna get, and I mean that literally, cookie.
All right,
fat.
So, question 1: how do you politely say no when a guy asks you to his place without him getting butthurt?
Yeah.
Specifically for a guy you like, but you don't want to hook up with right away. All right, so she likes the guy, but he's asking to hook up on the first date or implying. How do you let him down gently?
Well, he might not be asking for anything. So let's go super basic.
Okay.
Let's go super binder style. That question is assuming that because he's inviting you inside, he's asking to hook up.
That's a great point.
Not necessary. However, I see from a woman's standpoint, you're putting yourself in a situation that might be saying you're okay with it.
Right.
And you're just not because you just met him. And I'm a big advocate for communication, right?
Yeah.
So if you really do like a guy and it's just not the right time, this question is super simple for me. I would literally just tell that guy that, hey, how much you like him and appreciate him, and hey, it's just not the right time yet, right? Hey, just not tonight. You know what I mean? Hey, super enjoy you, really enjoy everything that we've had, and hey, I'm just not ready for that part yet. But I look forward to seeing you again.
And if he gets all weird and butthurt and what made you think it was that? It wasn't that at all.
Well, then you can always just say, like, hey, very true. However, if I'm putting myself in that position where I'm by myself in your house, like, we don't know what it's going to lead to, and I just don't want to put myself in that situation. Right. And then here's the deal. Women, if you say that and it has to go any more into the debate section, then he's just not the right guy, because you shouldn't have to, like, it's okay to explain yourself. Let's not start getting on this tangent where, like, we all get so entitled, like we shouldn't have to explain ourselves. Right. Like, no, man, like sometimes you do have to explain yourself for clarity. I explain myself all the time in my household.
Yeah.
Not because I'm losing. Not, you know what I mean? Like, I need to explain myself so there's clarity. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about her being above me and I have to explain myself because she's entitled. No, I explain myself so there's clarity within the relationship and she knows where I'm coming from. You don't have to like it. I just need you to know at least where it's coming from. So if you don't like what I have to say, at least you know what I'm trying to say because I've explained myself. So for a female, you know, if he were to say that, well, what's making you think that? Like, hey, we're adults, right? Like if I put myself, you know, alone with you in a house, like who knows where it's going to go? I do like you, so maybe I don't trust myself. Either way, it's just not the right time. And if it goes any further than that with explanation and the guy can't be respectful of that, you know, he's probably not the right guy.
That's probably a good indication of what kind of dude he is. So communicate.
I like him, but especially up front, you know. Like I'm a big fan of intellect, and just if somebody can't have those conversations with you or be respectful of it, I think you're going to find out whether you actually like who you think you like or not. And we're going to kind of I saw a couple more questions. We took a quick glance. And by the way, we haven't like prepared for these questions.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But I took a quick glance as we were writing them all down on your computer so we'd have them, and we'll kind of get to that patience thing later. But yeah, man, I'm a bit, especially early on, just explain it. And you know what? But this also works for both. Like if a girl is inviting you in.
Yeah.
And maybe a guy's like, man, like there's just too many girls out there that want to smash. Like I don't want to put myself in that position, and I'm going to do my best to just maybe take this a little bit more serious and get to know her. Like, hey, you can say the same thing and just communicate, just articulate thoughts around that. And if there's any grief or there's any debate beyond just explaining the situation, yeah, I mean.
It's amazing what happens when you communicate your actual feelings, right?
Yeah, like you and I.
Yeah, that actually works pretty well. It does.
Yeah.
All right. How did... Sorry, I'd laugh at this one. That's the way she worded it. And we wrote these out word for word, how the girls asked them, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
How do real chicks get/keep a guy's attention when thirsty ass hoes are throwing themselves at them? I like this one. I like this one a lot because I'll back up a little bit. So this is a legit question. And if I were a girl today, I don't know what I would do. Well, I probably do know what I would do. But here's the thing. I think girls had a code. 50s, 60s, before then, right? And of course it was different because social media wasn't around social media. Yeah, exactly. Social media wasn't around back then. You know, so you're dating the guy you went to high school with, and you guys all grew up together in your small town, and you're not connected to the outside world as much, and you invest time with that person. And if they found out that, you know, you're putting out right away, then that word spreads, and that's definitely not a word you wanted spread back then. And you guys put in time with each other so that when you guys did kiss, you know, a few weeks after dating, I don't know what it was back then, you know, and then you finally do hook up when you're married or something. It's like, guys, they invested so much time into this woman, and they know that if they go to another woman, she's going to have that same code. He's going to have to invest the same amount of time with her. So it's like, hey, I've already put in this much time with this girl. I'm just going to wait it out and do the damn thing, however long it takes, before instead of jumping to that next girl.
I like it, but my opinion is a little different. So I like it, and I 1,000% agree with you. But what happens is, like, maybe that's his thought right away, right? Like, I'm going to put my time with her because it's going to be the same for anyone else. Very true. But what ends up happening indirectly is you end up liking her. You get to know her.
Imagine that.
You start to figure out who she is. And then like that first kiss is like, man.
It becomes worth the time invested.
Guys, we're idiots, okay? Yeah. We are idiot. We're just walking boners, okay? Like,
it's true.
If things are thrown out there, like, especially at a younger age, or you know what? I think it's like a pendulum. Like, you see it at a younger age, but then people that get to their 30s that maybe are slightly over the dating, they're like, screw it, man. Like, we're just hooking up. But I agree. I think, you know, girls did not want to be known for like the whole hooking up right away kind of thing. And it was, you know, frowned upon. So you always had a couple of sleepers in there, man. I remember high school, even a little bit of junior high, like there's some rumors going around, and you got those sleepers in there. But nowadays it's just so accepted. And I kind of, man, this is going to sound terrible.
Thirsty assholes everywhere.
Thirsty assholes. And it kind of sounds terrible. So I hope I'm not degrading anybody here, but it reminds me of real estate. Okay. Like you have flat rate places. Well, how do you provide business? Like, how do you still keep in business and stay in business when you're a full price brokerage, when there's flat rate, cheap ass hoes out there that'll do it for $1,000? Like, well, that's a great question. And it's definitely going to be distracting, but there's only so much quality you're going to get. We've gotten business from people who could not sell their house with a flat rate company, right? So you've just got to be able to bring your value. So I know I'm correlating this to real estate. You know, by the way, if you're buying or selling, right? Like, people are just waiting for my hook, not hooking, but it's true. So we combat that. We combat that in our profession all the time. So it's the same thing. Like, if you compare these thirsty ass hoes, and I'm quoting the question here. I'm not calling anybody a hoe, but if you you like how politically correct I am, Pat. But if you're having to combat these thirsty ass hoes, I guess you just got to have some faith in, like, you've got to be able to create opportunity to provide value to someone.
Yes.
Okay. So you got to get to know them. Like, you just have to have those conversations and those layers and that time spent before the cookie, you know, is given up. And if you're not able to have that type of intellect with someone or time spent with someone because they're chasing other stuff, it's just not the guy for you. And at the same time, just because a guy doesn't respond 5 minutes after your text, or if you've gone on 2 dates, should you have the relationship talk? I think there's some questions like that in here.
There is, yeah.
So we're going to get to it, but girls also have to be patient. I think sometimes women are like, okay, you're an adult, I'm an adult. Like, we've gone on 2 dates, so what is it now?
Dude, a lot.
You're actually pushing that dude away.
Yep.
Sometimes a guy, maybe he doesn't articulate as well as you do, but maybe he's more than okay to continue to see you, but he's just trying to get to know you a lot better. Like, he might be on the same page as you. You just don't know it. And if you force it and you come off almost like entitled because you expect that conversation, it's throwing that vibe off. Like, just let things be natural. Let things kind of grow as they grow. Don't throw that expectation out there because you can push someone away. I don't want to go any further on that because I think there's questions like that on there. But as far as thirsty ass hoes, it's like flat rate real estate places. Look, some of those flat rate places get business. Okay, so some of these thirsty ass hoes are going to get some wins. Okay, but you've got to be able to just have some time spent, and you got to find a guy who's engaged in you enough to allow for some time spent to be valuable beyond the cookie.
Yes,
right?
Yes, you're right. And dude, the not pressuring the guy is so huge there because, like Will said, you guys are in the exact same position, and until you guys are exclusive, I don't blame him for dating other women. You know, and I don't know if it's called dating at that point, but maybe going to dinner, going on dates with other women, right? And that's just part of the game of, I guess, dating in your 30s.
Put this down, write this note down.
What you got?
Since you got all the notes today, because I want to cap today's podcast off with men and identifying what phase they are in.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, and I really want female to understand that because, look, man, Eli, you're an idiot.
Correct.
I'm an idiot. However, I don't think I'm an idiot right now. Like, I think I'm in a great phase in my life, and I'm prepared and open, and I'm completely okay with where my life is at. There might be some guys that are in a phase, and I don't mean age. I did not say age. Guys in their age? No. Guys in their phases, okay? Like, they might be in that thirsty-ass hoe phase.
Right.
Where they're out doing their fucking thing, busting more nuts than a squirrel, man. Like, right? Like, who, right? But so I think there are some good men out there, and I don't want this to turn into like all men are dogs and this and that. Oh, well, he's out dating. Like, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I think for women to identify or have a conversation as far as like what phase or what men are looking for, I think that's also a great conversation. Just like with our team, you know, like when you own a company, like you want to know, like, hey, like with the people that are, you know, within your company, you know, not just your goals for how many deals you want to do per year, you know, but like, hey, what do you want out of life? What are your goals and who are you? And is this a good fit for you? And how can we help you achieve what you want beyond just getting your numbers, right? So just having conversations about where people are at in their life and what their expectations are from themselves and how they view family. Good conversations beyond just, so are we a thing? Like that, that's not how you should be saying it.
You have to be flexible and you have to bring value over a prolonged period of time. And you have to be okay with fluctuations within that period of time. I think a lot of girls are so quick to, oh, that's not him, write him off. He did one little thing, he took too long, write him off.
Oh, yeah. Oh, write that down too. Write that down. Check him off. Listen, any of you women want to go out there and have a conversation with another female that has a quote unquote successful relationship? I'm going to be biased because it's mine. Why don't you ask Kate, you know, I guess how many write-offs I could have had. Right. I'm not a bad dude, you know, but like her and I have definitely been a little bit more selfless, you know, and even when you are right, and you have the opportunity to be right, do you really try to score that point, or just sometimes you have to kind of like take it on the chin?
Yeah.
Maybe we should get to that toward the end too. But I think to just recap on that question is just like flat rate agents. Some of them are going to win. There's going to be guys in phases who are like, look, man, thirsty SOs is just what they're about right now. And men like attention just as much as women do. They like to be flattered. They like to feel like they're on top of the world, just like women do. And if that's the phase they're in, it's going to be hard to get that guy to spend some time with you prior to the cookie is what I'm calling it for today. But just having that platform to allow that growth to happen. But at the same time, right, simultaneously, you can't throw an expectation on it. Just plant the seed and let it grow and see how it organically grows between you two as individuals and how you guys kind of have that flow. And just don't try to slap an expectation on it. If it grows and you are getting more time without sex and it is productive, continue to allow it to be productive. You don't necessarily have to have this expectation or what are we conversation.
Right. Nope.
Right. And just because it's not happening as quick as you want it, this is where you have to remember perception too, right? Like maybe second date, third date, you're like ready for that conversation. But in maybe in your time frame, that's a lot. But in reality, to the masses or to a guy, like, is 3 dates a lot? No. Especially if I'm dating with a purpose where maybe I marry someone that I'm dating right now. I'm not locking myself down with you after 3 days. And it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily seeing anyone else. But I'm not like, like I might not be seeing anyone, sleeping with anyone, but I'm also not ready to like put my stamp on you. But here's the deal. I don't put my stamp on a business after 3 dates.
Right.
Okay. Like I don't put my stamp on a lot of things just because, you know what I mean? So I think it's a dichotomy between allowing something to organically grow and enjoy those moments and also not having an expectation behind it. Just see where that goes without having to force a conversation.
I like it. I like
you.
All right.
Because we're the perfect couple, Eli.
Next one, we are. How to not take rejection from guys.
Hold on a minute.
Oh God.
By the way, if you were like just too fat, I'm just thinking, man, super off track.
I'm trying to keep moving
I know,
here.
man. We got an hour and a half. Relax. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get
Got a
there.
bunch of impatient women listening right now.
Listen,
like, hey,
Eli, don't put expectations on me. Don't just go slamming questions down my throat. You got to let me be a man.
All right.
If you were to just tune into this podcast and like never have heard us before, I swear to God, we're like we're the gay couple giving women advice right now. Like, man,
exactly.
I swear to God, it's sorry. It just, when I said I like you. Anyway, disclaimer, we're not together like that. Not that you're not cute.
Right.
It's not like it's like that.
Likewise.
Don't want to make it about us right now.
All right. How to not take rejection from guys on dating apps personally.
Ooh. Am I starting this one?
I know. It's a dating app. Don't take it personal.
Well,
That's
come
my
on
answer.
now.
I know.
Mr. Pro Women. That's
the guy answer.
That's pretty insensitive.
That's the guy answer.
Well, but you know what? I think guys take it personal too.
Yeah, it's rejection, man. That sucks all around.
Because rejection, they start blocking each other. Or
rejection sucks all around.
Maybe. But I think so let's dive a little deeper because I am, honestly, as lighthearted as we're being, I'm trying to give some good thought to this. I'm trying to be productive with it. If you're someone who takes rejection on a social media app, so we're assuming it's a stranger, you think they're cute, maybe they thought they were cute, so it like matches. You and I are out of date with these things, right? So does he have to like you and you like him mutually, but then he rejected you? Or did you swipe right and he didn't, and then you never see him pop up? I don't know. Whatever it is, I think if a social media app where I'm assuming it's a stranger, rejection on that, you take it personal. Like I also think like, let's go a little deeper. Because I think like what you're allowing your emotions to get binded to, it's just not healthy. Like what else are you taking personal in your life? Are you the same person that's at work and you see two people off in the corner talking and you're assuming it's about you because they're whispering?
Right.
Or is it about their thirsty ass hoe weekend that has nothing to do with you? But because they're whispering, you like maybe think like they don't want you to hear. Like, are you that person that thinks that kind of way? Like, are you, because if so, like there might be some insecurity there. There might be some type of maybe something from your past that's there. And you really got to ask yourself, like, why am I allowing my emotion to have so much weight behind that? Because you're right. Like it is a stranger, but I think that's a hard question to answer because again, if you're the person that's taking that type of rejection personal, I think it's deeper than just some app.
Well, correct. And I think, if you guys can just look at it with the side, again, just related to sales. Sorry, women, we relate relationships to sales. It's the exact same thing. But when you're prospecting, you're going through calling a list of, potential clients. For every no that you get, great. That person doesn't want to do business with me. Moving on, because now I can talk to people that actually do.
100%.
It's a good thing. You don't want to waste your time on that person anyway.
Yeah, but here's the deal. It's not even like, yeah. So I think, and it's just gave me some clarity. I'm glad you said that statement. Rejection isn't necessarily a bad thing. No. I would much rather swipe right and then that girl and I'm assuming, guys, I haven't been on these things. I guess we should have made an account before we did this and let our ladies have it so they can brief us on how these things work. But I would much rather someone be upfront with me.
Yes.
And just completely not be interested in me versus me like forcing it or trying to like show them a good time and they're just not interested. Because now we're just wasting each other's time, but if that type of rejection hurts you, like, again, I think there's some self-respect issues.
Yeah.
Because even if you know someone.
That's a good point.
Right? Like, even if you do know someone, maybe you've dated and then, like, after a couple of months or a year, they're just like, hey, I've just fallen out of care for you and this just isn't for me. Like, it's going to be a bummer. I get it. But have enough self-respect to go, hey, look, man, I'm a good chick. Right? Like, I'm a good person and I'm fun. And, like, if I'm just not for you because it's just a hard vibe, like, that's okay. And, hey, that's a bummer because I cared for you. But you should care for yourself more to go, hey, you know what? I appreciate you being honest about it. And, like, thank you because I want you to go be happy with someone and I want to be happy with someone. So if that rejection from a stranger is hurting you, I'm just concerned for you, right? From a self-respect aspect. And in addition to that, if you can't take just as light, a rejection from someone on social media that's rejecting you on a dating app, how the hell are you going to be able to have difficult conversations inside of a relationship and not take it personal and not feel like you're being quote unquote attacked, right? Like, so many times I've spoken in my relationship and we're in a place now like, hey, it's not about right or wrong. It's about clarity. I just need you to understand where I'm coming from so you know me better. This is not for you to tell me you're sorry.
Right.
And this just isn't even in relationships with you, when you date someone. Dude, this is you and I. If I'm trying to explain something, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, bro. No. Don't say that. I don't need you to be sorry, right? Because I know, like, your intent wasn't to mess something up. I just need you to hear how I tick, so we're just better in the future.
Right.
So when you say, sales are exactly the same, that's what we're talking about today. You're right. Sales are relationships. The more communication and the better that relationship is between, you and providing for your client, the better it's going to be, right? So for me, if the rejection from a stranger on a dating app is hurting you, I think your self-respect is hurt, right? And I'm not judging. I just think it's hurt. And again, how are you going to have difficult conversations, or how are you going to hear a guy open up to you and not make it about you?
Yes.
Like, thinking, well, everything I do is wrong. Like, no. Yeah. Hey, I'm not even talking about you. I'm just talking about my life and how I digest things. But I can't even say these things to you without you taking it personal, which means I can't talk to you, which means we now have a dysfunctional relationship. So I think if you are taking rejection, this will be my final statement on this question. If you are taking rejection that personal on social media, like dating apps, I don't think you're ready for a relationship. I think you got to get better with yourself.
That's good. Right? That's good. It's a good soundbite right there.
Appreciate that.
We're using that one.
You're welcome, ladies.
And you can never know where the guy's mind is. You could look like his freaking sister. He could have gotten a promotion and needs to move. An ex could have come back into his life. You never know the circumstances why someone rejects you. So don't sweat it. It's all good.
Don't sweat it. Sweat the gym. Sweat the gym, not your dating apps, girls. You can always get sexier, I guess, right? Like when girls like break up with dudes, they're like, I'm hitting the gym, I'm getting shredded. Like, hey,
man.
Don't sweat the small stuff, sweat the gym.
All right. Is it easier to meet someone via social media or organically nowadays?
I'm gonna let you start that.
Oh, you're letting me start.
Taking turns,
man. It
like
depends.
A good relationship.
It really depends if you're going for quantity or quality, or like what's your goal, right? Is it easier to meet someone via social media? I would say so, yeah. I mean, there's everyone in the world at your fingertips right there. So I'd say if you're trying to meet somebody, sure. But, I mean, it really just depends on what you're going for and how well you are at communicating and being who you are in person and on social media, I think.
Yeah. Well, this is binary, right? Because you've got to think about yourself. But then you also have to think about others and just how they're communicating with people. So even if you're that person that just loves meeting people in person, right? Like, and maybe through friends or a bar, or you're out on town with the family, not your family. Maybe, like your sisters, I don't know. But you want to meet organically. Maybe that's your thing. But it's super hard because everyone's personal lives are so busy. Anytime they're out in public, they're not meeting someone because they're already on a date.
Yeah,
they're with their friends
doing something.
They're not out. And I think prior to dating sites, people actually went out to meet people.
Yeah.
Now people are meeting on dating sites, and then when you see them out in public, like at a bar or a nightclub, they're with someone they met on the site, maybe, right? And I'm shooting from the hip here. So I think when people are already out enjoying nightlife, they're already engaging with the people that they chose to engage with. So it's really hard nowadays to just meet people that are open to that, but at the same time, maybe you've had no success on dating sites. So for just like you and I, again, sales, right? Like no matter how much I like something, when you and I are going over like our stats and everything for our business, like, look, man, if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. So if you've been on dating sites for 2 years and, well, all I meet are D-bags. Okay. 2 things. Either you're crazy, okay, right? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you're crazy, and because it's hard to say, like, how many dudes have you met? 100, and none of them were good at all.
You're 100 for 100 D-bag, right?
That's a high. Like, I know, look, guys, we're idiots, but that's still high. I feel like maybe you brought the crazy out in them, or maybe maybe just a couple things. Like, again, you brought in that expectation conversation on the 3rd date. I would say some self-reflection is needed if you've been on for several years and you can't find anyone. Everyone flaked on you. Maybe some self-awareness. And, okay, but maybe like the dating site's just not your thing. Like maybe you are a little bit more serious. Maybe you do want to move a little faster. And maybe meeting someone that also doesn't care for how people act on these dating sites, as a whole. So, but here's the deal. I guess you're just going to have to maybe wait longer.
Yes.
To meet someone in person. But man, I think you and I are both advocates of this. It's good, dating sites and just getting out and networking and meeting people and having a good time. Like, I like that. Going out with friends and cousins and coworkers and just going out and having a good time. I love that. And I compare that to like an open house or meeting with people in real estate. Like, hey, you're going out and you're doing an open house. Hey, you're going out and you're meeting people and you're having real estate conversations. Phenomenal. Hey, you're going out with your girlfriends and you're having work conversations and personal conversations. Phenomenal. The second you put an expectation behind that, the second you do an open house to meet a buyer and then you don't meet that buyer that day, it wasn't a productive open house. Not true.
Yeah.
Marketing it, setting up an event page, marketing that open house for a week, going and setting up, getting inside, meeting people who are obviously looking at real estate and having real estate conversations is a win. Just because you're not getting an actual buyer from it right away doesn't mean that it's a loss. So how I'm correlating that back to the dating world, if you're going on these apps with the expectation that this person needs to be something and you're already like judging that before you meet him, and then you meet him, so you like him, so you date twice, and then you have this expectation conversation or he doesn't text you back within 12 hours, like you're making this fake scenario in your head and you're trying to think of like why he's not, which you probably are on the moon at that point. But you have this expectation behind it. Or if you're going out with your friends to have a good time with the intention of you just need to meet a guy that night, like, no, like just allow things to grow organically. So if again, what's working for you, what's not working for you. If the dating sites are just not working for you, self-reflection. And if you're like, no, I'm not that crazy. It's this. Okay, like I'm not going to argue you, right? Like if you don't have any self-reflection, cool. Do things in person, but I think whether it's in person or it's on social media, like you just have to be true to who you are. Just go out and have some fun and don't necessarily put expectations behind that, right?
Do everything that Will said, and then what I like here is
hear that, Kate?
Everything that Will said, and then I like the hybrid model. For me, I met my wife one night, group of friends, met her. But then I got a chance to spy on her for 6 months on social media.
Oh, you stalked
see
her.
what kind of person she actually was, right? Really? See the posts that she put out. Oh, she likes horses. That's cool. Oh, she's a nurse. Oh, she's got done with the 12-hour shift. Oh, she busts her ass.
Were you guys friends on Facebook?
Yeah.
Now, I wonder, like, if you'd have done that, if you do that now, if some girl would be like, oh, he's a crazy stalker.
But they don't know I'm stalking. You just watch their content. You become friends on Facebook, so you just meet organically. Cool. We're friends. Look you up on Facebook. Great. And then you just observe, right, over the next 6 months. And then we ended up connecting again, and it all went from there. But
I like that.
But like you said, go out, go meet people. Use dating apps as a way to just generate activity and go out as groups of people, right?
And just have some fun. Don't put expectations.
Get relationships, build your network on social media, and then maybe that one friend of a friend of a friend that you met at the bar that one night where you exchanged Facebook information, now you just talk to him over the next 3 months online from the food he posts or the movies that he goes and see, and now you guys have a real relationship.
So you met Megan
in person.
Right. First.
Yes.
How did that go?
Amazing.
Yeah,
great. She walked. I was in another relationship at the time.
Okay.
We were having a.
I feel like you read my mind.
We were having a party. So I was in a 5.5-year relationship at that point.
Oh, Megan,
and
dirty dog.
That was back in the days when I was in the band and all that stuff. So we were having like a band party.
Yeah.
And then friend of a friend our singer's girlfriend invited her best friend Megan.
Very cool.
She actually ditched out on work that night. She never skips work. She never does anything bad.
Just for you.
And she bailed out on work that night.
Did she know you were going to be there, or was she just want to have some fun watching the band?
So actually, that girl was going to invite her to introduce her to another guy in our crew, but single guy.
Yeah.
And when she walked in, dude, it was literally saw her eyes, dude. 100%.
The time of
her and I saw each other instantly, and it was like super thick tension that whole night. So we met up on Facebook or connected on Facebook, and then
we're similar.
It all grew from there. You did the same thing.
So Kate and I were friends on Facebook first.
Right. So kind of reverse.
But I didn't know her.
But
and and if it's my story, she friend requested me.
There you go.
Okay. But she was so well spoken when she would write. Mm-hmm. Just, I would see her post, and of course I thought she was gorgeous, and just thought she presented herself well, and she would go out and have fun with her friends, but she was classy, she dressed classy, and I just got a good vibe from it. And she had a blog. Mm-hmm. Has a blog, and I would read her blog, and I'm just like, and dude, it's called Modern Alice. But it's not like race cars, it's not something, but I was just intrigued by how well she would be grammatically correct in her posts on Facebook. I'm like, okay, that tells me right there. And girls, pay attention to stuff like this, because these are called key indicators to a real man or a real guy. If I'm prefacing myself as a real guy, I try hard. I'm still an idiot. Let's not get stuck in the weeds, but that was a key indicator for me. Hey, if she's going to be that grammatically correct, right? I feel like whatever she's saying, she cares about what she says. If she's going to pay attention, and I feel like I do the same thing. I always check my stuff the best that I can. And so I felt like, hey, she checks her stuff. She cares about what she says. So I would read her blog and some of her other stuff that she would post on her website, and to just see there too. And it was a little interesting because, ironically, right, I'm in another relationship at the point. I didn't even know Kate, but I liked her stuff, and I was intrigued and wasn't necessarily looking for anything. Just came across it through social media and enjoyed it. And I remember I got asked a question by the person I was dating, hey, who's so-and-so? And I was like, who? And she was like, this person. And she showed me her picture. And I was like, oh, girl from social media. And she's like, yeah, you're liking all of her stuff, right? And I'm like, damn, social media, right? Yeah. Again, we're guys, we're idiots. Yeah. But I didn't have any intent behind it. I wasn't necessarily thinking about dating her and all this stuff. I literally wasn't, right? Not because I'm a white knight. I'm not going to get into the whole Will's the best thing that's ever happened to women. No, not at all. I've made plenty of mistakes. But at that time, anytime I've been in a relationship, I'm not consciously looking for someone else. Yeah. We're so busy with work, or I've been so busy in the Marine Corps, my brain just can't take any more than one woman, right? Because as amazing as you are, women, you fill my brain up. Yep. There's only room for one, right? So I wasn't looking for that, but I like what she wrote. Of course I thought she was pretty. She was bringing value to me. Right. But of course I thought she was gorgeous. And to this day, if you haven't seen her, by far, just the most gorgeous woman I've seen on the planet. Mm-hmm. But I was more intrigued by how grammatically correct she was, and I would read her other stuff, and it was the same. It was consistent. And I was just getting interested in stuff she would write about. Wasn't even up my alley. Mm-hmm. But I was interested, and I remember she asked me, and that's what I said. Hey, I like her post, and she's like, well, I can't remember what she said. And I don't want to be bad talking anybody here, because I want to bad talk any priors. We're all good people, but I'm sure Kate would say something different about that one. But anyway, long story short, that's what I said. And then it didn't work out with that person. All good. Here's what's crazy, because Fat and I have a mutual friend, right? And I'm not going to blast his name here because I haven't asked permission for anything or to have him vouch for this story. But Fat knows who I'm talking about. Well, anyway, this gentleman, it's when I was with that fitness company at the time, he sent me an email and he goes, hey, I love the store. I buy product from you guys. I love your clothes. I want to get clothes made for myself, for my own brand. I go, cool, man. How many, appreciate you reaching out. How many shirts do you need? I think he said 25. I go, hey, dude, that's going to be so expensive. It's not even funny. Send me your vectors. And I'm just going to add it to my order. Dude, you can look at the invoice. I will give you the same cost we get. I don't need to make a dime on you. I appreciate your business, shopping with us. Yeah. And he was like, hey, man, that's so cool. Cool. So I got him his stuff, and him and I hit it off super well, right? And he's just a cool cat, and he was coming in talking about his organization that he wanted to start and everything he was doing, and I was talking about what we're doing and where we're going, and we hung out several times. Just a cool dude, right? And then I friend requested him on Facebook and this and that, and then, dude, I think I had known that guy for maybe, I don't even know if you know the story. I think you know the story. Yeah. He's nodding, by the way, everybody. He's nodding. He doesn't use his mic anymore. After like being like friends with this guy for like 2 months, no shit, bro. He has a picture with Kate and like a couple of other friends. And I'm like,
hey,
what?
Yeah.
And I'm single, by the way.
Yep.
I'm single. And I go, so he comes back in. I was like, hey, bro, do you know so-and-so? But she goes by Mara.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, you know Kate? And he goes, who? I'm like, oh, this motherfucker, right? Like, don't play stupid with me. And I was like, Kate. He's like, what, dude? And I was like, are you playing stupid with me right now? He's like, no, what are you talking about? I show him. He goes, oh, Mara?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. He's like, man, I've known her since junior high. He goes, why, you like her? And I go, yeah, I do. I've read all of her blogs and all this stuff. And so a couple weeks later, it's fall time, it's football season, and he mentions me. And Kate, because Kate's parents' house, like the house growing up, so everyone still go over there for football games, and even when they were all adults, they'd still go over there. And he mentioned me, and I remember, I guess one of Kate's friends was like, "Well, is he tall? Is he something? Is he something?" And apparently, I checked all the boxes. So, girls, we know you have boxes to check.
Yeah,
we get it.
Yep.
Don't be super stringent. And I know I'm getting long-winded here, but anyway. It got a little interesting because, okay, so we start dating, right? And like, I don't know, like a month, she was my profile picture.
Yep. Oh, boy.
So how I had my settings on social media was that my profile pictures were public.
Right.
So I'm doing some editing and some video work with stuff we were doing with my cousin in the fitness company, and I got like 9 phone calls, right? And then a couple text messages, you need to call me. And I was like, I hope she's all right. And this is my ex.
Gotcha.
I'm like, again, we're idiots, okay? So I call her and I was like, everything okay? And all I got was, you motherfucker. I was like, and I still didn't know,
shit,
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And she's like, how long did we date? And I was like, I don't got time for this. And she's like, how long? Like, you're going to answer my question. So I was like, I don't know, like 2 years, a little off and on, man. It was a little reckless, man. She just, she has a fiery spirit, we're gonna call.
Yeah.
And I said that, and she goes, and out of that much time, I had to just pull teeth to get you to even post a picture, more or less a fucking profile picture.
Yep.
And I was like, ooh, there it is. And I actually felt bad. Now, but however, something I'm sensitive to is like my word and my stability. And like, if I'm not stable with you, or if I'm not sure about you, I don't care if it's been 10 years. If we're still working on stuff, I'm not going to go out and make it super public. So girls, if a guy's not making things super public, don't necessarily freak out. And I know we're going to get to the whole interrelationship thing, but girls, don't freak out. Like, some of us guys are good to our word, and we want to make sure that we're respectable. And like, hey, man, like my mom's on my social media. Sounds kind of corny, but like, I don't want my mom just assuming I'm just taking every girl home and or having her worry if there's drama on there or whatever it may be. So, but I did see where she was coming from, and we just never were at a place where I could. But here was the hard part. She was like, so you cheated on me. And I'm like, excuse me? Because she's like, I mentioned her. She's like, I mentioned her, 6 months, 8 months. And I was like, no, like, I super see how this looks. No, not true. And then the rest is history. We got our kiddos, and we're happily ever after.
Dude.
Yeah. So, but again, so I guess the moral of that story is just perception, or your perception isn't necessarily always reality. Don't assume that things are what they are. And secondly, there are guys that might just be a little bit more private, or they really do want to like make sure that someone is the right person before they make it public. And because girls, you're dealing with so many dirtbags, don't assume he's being secretive right off the bat. Like, maybe he just respects his platforms and just doesn't want to throw it out there.
What I love about that story, though, is the way that you and Kate connected is marketing 101, sales 101. Yeah. She built a personal brand by putting her thoughts and content out there. You were attracted to that content first, and then were able to observe her and fall in love with her over time, which prevented you from going to the flat rate, aka thirsty ass hoes.
He just said fall in love with her over time. So you're prefacing that I was falling in love with her while I was dating another woman, and that's not correct, Eli.
Oh yes,
I just enjoyed
reading her blog, like looking at her punctuation and shit.
I know, reading about skinny jeans. Goddamn, isn't that awesome? No, but I guess that's also some validity to the hybrid. Like, it was kind of like social media, but it happened organically. I had no idea my friend knew her. So when I helped that guy, truth be told, and everyone that was around for that, they know that that's a true story. I had no idea that he knew her.
Yes.
Yep. So now the rest is history, and we've gone through our battles and we've worked a ton at it, and she's had every right to leave me, and she hasn't, and I've had every right to leave her before, and I haven't. And I think there's some maybe that's another podcast, but you know, not always being right, or even if you are right, not trying to score that point. It's huge in a relationship, man. Yeah. I'm sure you can speak to that too.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that was long-winded. Let's get back to these questions.
Well, super short question here after that long one. Is there a mandatory cuddle after sex?
Hold on a minute. Is that a real?
It is.
Listen, I think that question goes right next to that thirsty ass hoe question.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, well, man. Okay, I'm trying to give benefit of doubt here.
Mandatory is a heavy word.
Well, I'm thinking. Well, and again, perception isn't always reality, right? So I'm thinking like, well, what are you doing? You just getting up and walking out?
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, cool, thanks for the hookup. I'm out of here. Well, if you're a thirsty ass hoe, quoting the question, if you're a thirsty ass hoe, no, I don't think you have to cuddle. I think he knows who you are. You know who you are. It's all good. Like,
high five. Maybe a high five.
High five if it was decent, right? Score it, out of 10, and be on your way. If you're, man, and I'm just trying to like identify who would be asking that question, because I don't think a thirsty ass hoe asked that, because she wouldn't have time to ask questions. She's probably dating.
Yeah.
But if you really like the guy and you've been dating for a little while, like it's time, and you think it's acceptable as an adult, to give up the cookie per se, but you're just not a cuddler. I think this is the very beginning stage of like, you just got to start thinking for someone else now. Are you taking this guy serious?
Right.
Like, are you taking this connection serious? Because, dude, I get super hot. Look at me, right? Like, my AC stays 64 to 68 in my house, man. Like, so it's not like I don't get hot when I'm laying in bed, and, but like, is it good to connect and cuddle? Like, do I put my own feelings, aside because it makes her feel good? So I do it? Yeah, of course. So you're just at the very beginning stages of, if you're hooking up, but I'm assuming like you're taking this guy serious, you're taking yourself serious, and it's just time.
Yeah.
Well, does he like to cuddle?
Yeah.
And if he does, like, because if you're just going to put your own thoughts or your own feelings in front of this guy already out of the gate, like a month in, you're putting your own thoughts and feelings before his. No, you don't have to do anything. But here's the deal. Like, it's just not going to be a successful relationship if it's all predicated upon you putting your feelings first.
I think just don't put too much weight on it. I think it comes down to personal preference, and some guys, their version of cuddling might just be turning on Family Guy and chilling in the bed with you. Just don't put too much weight on it.
Sounds amazing.
Right?
You do that? I know, exactly. I kind of want to cuddle you right now.
Exactly, dude.
Did you ever does Megan like Family Guy?
Yeah.
100%, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude, here's what's funny about Kate. She's so smart and all that stuff, right? And sometimes I got it. Like, it took me a little while to like get her to let her guard down a little bit. And she used to make fun of Family Guy. But while she would make fun of Family Guy, she was laughing her ass off. And then finally, right, like, we hit the Family Guy phase, and she's all good. She's come around. She's come to the dark side. Yeah, but so that's a hard question, right? Because we're not really sure who's asking it. But again, for the sake of this podcast and trying to be productive, if you're a productive female that is really listening to this to get some advice, and just be better or do better, or just take a guy's opinion and apply it. Yeah, here's the deal. Men do have emotions too. Men do like to be coddled or taken care of. Or yeah, I like laying my head on Kate's chest sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I like that kind of stuff too. So, if that early, like you're thinking like, oh, well, is it mandatory to cuddle? Like, well, what are you doing instead? You got to get in the shower right away. You got to just leave right. Because what impression, you don't have, first of all, you don't have to do anything. Okay. But if you don't, and you're just hopping out of the bed immediately, like, hey, cool, thanks, and then you're leaving, or you're getting in the shower doing something else, what signal, like what message are you sending to that? Second to that, if you are taking this gentleman serious and sex is now a thing, or maybe you're having sex a couple times a week, here's the deal. I don't think anyone gets offended if, like, every once in a while it's just too hot, and you're like, oh, babe, I'm too hot. And then you both just roll over and enjoy the moment with some space between you.
Right.
And we've had that before.
All the time.
Like, yeah. And look, I'm 250. I can't always lay on her. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's only safe for so long, right?
And
like Kate's petite.
If it's like, also look at where you're at in time of day. If it's 7 or 8 on a Tuesday, I got shit to do, right? 7 or 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, I got shit to do.
Right.
If it's 10:30 at night on a Saturday and you're jumping out of bed and leaving, I'm going to be like, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
That's weird. Where is she going around 2 or
And
what?
again, we're assuming that you're having regular intercourse with this person.
Right.
If it's the first time and you just don't want to have the obligatory cuddle, but you're serious enough to have sex with him.
Yeah.
But you're not serious enough to just cuddle for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I just worry about what signal, like what message you're sending to that guy.
Right.
If you're hopping up, because maybe you're not a thirsty asshole. Maybe, right? But here's the deal, man. There are girls that just want that.
Yes.
So if I'm laying there and like that's the first time and like, no, man, you don't got to tell me sweet things in my ear and cuddle me that long. But if you're hopping out of that bed the first time, like super fast and there's not necessarily a reason like getting to work because it was on a lunch break.
Yeah.
You might be sending me a message like, well, who else are you knocking boots with right now? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems more of an arrangement versus allowing us to just organically just have moments. And again, maybe cuddling is not your favorite thing.
Yeah.
But if you're, again, I think it's a slippery slope if all you're doing is thinking about your thoughts first, right? Like, it's a slippery slope. Now, let's flip that question around because this just popped in my head. Maybe the girl that asked that question, she wants to cuddle.
Right.
But she's thinking like, hey, is it mandatory? Like, is it weird if a guy doesn't cuddle me? So maybe she's asking from that perspective. Maybe it's not her running off.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's him. Well,
don't put too much weight on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my answer is still the same because if I'm a guy and I hop out of that bed too quick and there's not necessarily rhyme or reason to that, like, oh, well, I just get hot or whatever. Like, well, I'm putting my own thoughts first. And if I hop out too quick as a guy, like this girl let me in. We've been taking each other serious. We've been dating. It came time for cookie time. And then I do that. What message am I sending her? So again, if I'm putting my own thoughts first and I'm sending that kind of message, like I'm concerned. I might have blew it. Yeah. So no, it's not mandatory, but I'm just big on communication and I'm big on like putting someone else's feelings first within reason. Like don't go off the deep end if you know a guy a week. Don't do that shit. But I do like thinking for others and trying to think of like what they might like. And if they want to cuddle, I don't care what I like. I like that they like something and I want to make sure that I'm sending the right message, especially right? Like if I am into her, I really want to make sure I send the right message.
Such a considerate lover, Will.
Dude, I'm a hopeless romantic.
I know
bro. You're gonna get my I know I look a certain part. Look, man, I'm a protector and a nurturer, and you know I like just buying things spontaneously, but not just materialistic stuff, like things that made me think of Kate. You know, yeah, man, I'm big on that, but I also know how it makes someone feel. So I think it's more so the feel side. Yeah.
All right. This is a good one. When is the right time to ask if someone is looking for a relationship or something serious?
All right, you're first.
Oh, man. Dude.
Or should we preface this like, so when is it the right time to break up with your girlfriend and then hook up with, and then date that super hot wife of yours now? Is that how we should frame this?
So how that worked, about 6 months later, she had sent me a text that said, "Are you single?" It was like 4:30 in the morning. I was getting up to go train. My phone, I got a text, and I was like, "What? Who's texting me at 4:30 in the morning?" Number I didn't know, and it said like she had signed like Megan. I was like, "Oh shit!" She texted me at 4:30 in the morning. My kind of girl.
Yeah.
And that weekend, so I was like, "No, I'm not single." So here's what we did. So that weekend, we're like, "Hey, let's go meet up at our mutual friend's house together, 4 or 5 people there, right? See if there's any sort of connection,
monster,
and then we'll take it from there."
Monster.
So we went and we were watching a movie at our friend's house, and her and I, dude, we were like in middle school. We were like holding hands like under a fucking pillow. It sounds so stupid, dude.
No,
like
it's
we're
awesome.
in our 20s, but we're like holding hands under a pillow. We did end up kissing that day. Literally a kiss as I was leaving, and then I went and had dinner with my girlfriend that night and broke up with her.
Oh,
and then
what a gentleman.
And then went and did that.
And let me defend this a little bit. First and foremost, this is where I'm a super advocate for men, because what was that? What's that movie where he's like, "What do you want?" and it's pouring rain.
Oh yeah,
The Notebook. Okay,
there we go.
Movies like The Notebook.
Fat knew that, by the way.
Make it make it super acceptable for like women to like be passionate about someone else and leave where they're at to chase their passion in this, right? Like that chick was engaged. Yeah, they were they grew up and when they were romance or they were into each other 20 years prior, and then she comes back to town and she's literally there to get married.
Yeah.
And she's out messing around with this dude behind this other guy's back who wasn't necessarily a jerk. He just wasn't her lifelong thing. And I'm not saying that she should have married that guy. No, she should be with this passionate guy who's yelling at her in the rain. Awesome. But that also happens on the guy side. Like, look, man, like sometimes, like in that frame, look, people grow apart, you know, like, and what I respect about it is like, hey, you broke up with her. Hey, look, I'm interested in somebody else. And that's where it's going to take me. And I'm not sure exactly what you said, so I can't be speaking for you. But what I like is that you just didn't drag it on for a year. You know what I mean?
Nope,
and just be a coward about it.
Dude, as soon as I knew that there was something there, it was literally that night.
Megan, you got the touch, girl.
And I did break up. I did the breakup in a public restaurant because with that one, it was a little questionable how the outcome was going to be.
Was she a little cuckoo?
Oh God,
really?
Yeah.
Men are cuckoo too, girls.
Yeah,
I don't want to like say that we're not. But I had a prior.
Yeah, I like how
prior to
you
Kate.
can tell the cop doesn't call exes exes; he calls them priors.
How many priors you got? I know. I should be. If I was single, I'd be like, how many priors you got? How many guys have you How many guys have you spoke about on social media that you want to stab?
So my take with this question is, I think it all depends.
Say the question again, by the way. I'm super.
Yeah. So when is the right time to ask if someone is looking for a relationship or something more serious? So when is it time to have that conversation? I think there's not a blanket answer to this, but I think it's super smart for you guys to both communicate your intentions. Like if there's a spark, talk about that spark. I think that's okay because Megan and I, even after I broke up with that girl,
don't fake the spark.
No, yeah, don't fake the spark. But we talked about it. She knew I broke up with my girlfriend that night. But then we still dated for 3 months before even becoming exclusive. So there was that time. It's like we talked about it. We knew it was there. But hey, I just got out of this relationship.
3
Let's
months.
give this a little bit of time. So it was 3 days of or 3 months of dating consistently exclusive.
Yeah.
Around each other all the time before becoming like official.
I think so. When is the right time to have the conversation about being exclusive? So it's like, man, is it prior to sex? Is it after sex? Here's the deal. That's going to be a personal decision for you. Women, if you are not comfortable having, intercourse with a man until you're exclusive and you're in a relationship, then I think let it grow organically. And you know this, as things grow organically and you start fooling around or feelings start becoming there and you start putting yourself in front of situations where something sexual might happen, but you want to make sure it doesn't because you're not together. Like, I think you got to have that conversation. Just tell the guy that you care for him. And obviously say, hey, no obligation, but I don't have sexual activity if I'm not in a relationship with someone, and I don't mean to rush you. This has been fun, and I love, the suspense behind all of this. I don't mean to put that expectation. And I also don't want you to be dishonest and say something just to get something from me. Have that communication with him. And then, second to that, like if it's after sex, because you're okay to have sex, you don't necessarily need to be exclusive. Like maybe some girls are like, well, what if he's not good at sex? I want him to be my boyfriend if he's not good at sex. So I need to find that out first.
Good point.
Okay, true. But if you say it like right after sex, well, now it sounds like an expectation.
Right.
Now it sounds like, oh, because we had sex, I got to be your boyfriend. Like now, oh, so you gave me the cookie to like tie me in. You got to be careful with that perception, right? So, man, this is all starting to just boil down with just being yourself and just being okay to just articulate and think of your thoughts, think of other people, put their perception into play and try to put yourself in their shoes. That way, when you do talk to them, it comes off as appropriate as possible. But man, this is all just kind of boiling down to just communication and what's okay with you and not okay with you. And, like Kate and I can't remember how long we waited. She couldn't keep her hands off me, man.
Dude, I was going to say we were having a ton of sex the whole time.
Yeah. Well, the whole time what?
Oh, that we were dating for those 3 months.
Yeah. I think, and I think, look, that was okay for you both, right? Like, there's a spark there, and it's fun. It's puppy love, and you're holding hands and all this stuff. And, like, Kate and I were very similar, but, this is our podcast. She can have her own podcast. So I guess it's my story.
That's right.
This is my story.
That's right.
She couldn't keep her hands off of me.
Yeah.
That's actually the truth.
Yeah.
She's going to kill me. I won't be here, guys. I hope you got what you need. Peace be with you. But, no, man, I think, but again, I can't remember how long, like we waited before the cookie, but whatever we did, it just fell together.
Yes.
And women, I will say this: if a guy's interested in you, there's this line between him being super infatuated and it's coming off super corny or super forced, and you can feel it. He's trying to get something from you, and then there's this other side where you can really feel that a guy is giving you attention and he's available because he really likes you. And I could be wrong, but when like if you were to ask Kate, it was very obvious that I was interested in her. And when she texted, I texted back. And I was having conversations like, no, I didn't make her wait. Like, and dude, working for that fitness company, being number 2, I had shit going on, man. Like, dude, I still would text. If she texted me, hey, just saying, hey, I was thinking about you. How's your day? Shit.
Yeah.
I'm not. Oh, I can't text her back until I'm off work.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here, bro. No. I might have waited 2 minutes so I didn't look super stupid.
Yeah.
I texted her back. Hey, appreciate you thinking about me. How's your day? Hey, you. Hey, pretty girl. Right? How's your? Like just a little flirting and just entertaining each other throughout our days. Like, again, it wasn't super forced, but it was very obvious that both her and I were making the time and giving the attention to like that circumstance. You know what I mean?
So I think if you have to force it, it's probably not time.
Yeah.
I think if it's the right person, you guys are both vibing with each other, I think naturally it's going to come up.
But don't kill that vibe.
But don't
just
kill
because
it.
you've had a vibe for a week does not necessarily doesn't mean you should be doing that. Like I don't think I remember like a gentleman. I'm gonna white knight it right now, like a gentleman. I asked Kate out, right? Like I bought her a little gift, and I asked her out on Christmas Eve. So that was like my fun way of doing it. So I do. This is where, like I do appreciate. I do like when guys get a little old school. I'm not saying that it has to be this. I'm not saying girls can't ask a guy out. I just really took pride in doing that. I really took pride in being a gentleman and just telling her, hey, here's what I think of you, and here's how I value you, and here's what I'm thinking, and I'd like you to be my girlfriend. I just like that old school stuff, and I've always been that way, man. I've never put it in the girls' court, but I've always allowed that process to just brew to a point to where like I knew I wasn't gonna get that rejection,
right?
Because that rejection compared to the social media,
that's true,
app rejection, a little different. And again, you just want to make sure that you've given enough time, and you're not rushing it before you ask that, But I'm a little partial to where I do like when guys take that initiative and step up. I think it shows some good initiative, especially nowadays. Men, if you're still listening to our banter, if you are a good dude and you conduct yourself well and you take care of women the right way and you like getting doors, like, dude, to this day I get Kate's door. No bullshit, right?
Yep,
like I get Kate's
true.
door every day. Like
true.
The little things. And if you like being respectable and that kind of guy, and again, I'm not saying that you have to be that guy, but if you like being that kind of guy and that's how you kind of carry yourself, well, maybe take the initiative to have that conversation because, the success is going to set you up with your intentions and how you can articulate your thought about a woman, and the trust, that she'll have behind that, I think is huge.
Tell me what you think of this
idea.
Take
notes, Fat. You over there taking notes?
Tell me what you think of this. We're not even halfway through this
That's
list.
All right. Let's do it, man.
Let's do this. Let's do 2 more questions, and then let's do part 2 on Friday.
You think so?
It's going to be a 4-hour podcast if we don't.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
and
that long?
And I think it warrants 2 parts.
Oh,
I do.
Ladies.
These aren't just simple questions.
Eli
man.
is just coming out of the box for you.
These aren't just simple questions.
Well, then we're just, but I'm going to remarket it and get more questions.
Of course. That's what we do, man.
Week.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
How long have we been going for already? Fat, how long have we been going?
A little over an hour, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Girls, you are just so high maintenance.
Dude, I know.
Just
no, but honestly, I think girls do deserve a little more explanation.
You're
just
such a gentleman.
Just to the quick answers, because
100%.
these are deep questions, and 100%. We do want to actually have some sort of impact for you guys. So,
well, Fat, what do you think? Huh?
We should do a part 2.
I'm just glad I got you on the
2
mic.
We got a lot of
Appreciate that.
engagement on this one.
Yeah?
Cool.
All right, we like it.
I like it.
So if you're still listening, we're going to do a part 2. I love
And
it.
girls too. Like I said,
maybe we'll do a guy's version too. Who
On
knows?
Will's Instagram story, I wanted to mention, leave your comments on this video. If we're full of shit and you think that, if we say something we're just totally wrong on, say something.
Here's the deal.
'Cause I want to address it.
I promise you we're not totally wrong. And I promise you we're not full of shit. Now, is our perspective limited?
Yes.
That's fine.
Right.
Do you have a story where something we're saying is not true? 100%.
Yes.
Obviously, our opinion is limited to our own personal experience in relationships and what we've gathered from our friends, both men and women. So of course, and I hope that you guys can take something from this and we keep rolling. But yeah, let's do a part 2. We're getting some good engagement. Fat likes it. We'll do a part 2. What else you got for us, man?
All right, so 2 more questions.
All right, deal.
This one's funny. This one made me laugh.
Oh, God.
Just dating in 2019. This is funny. If you've been switched from weekend girl to just weekday night girl, does that mean he's over you?
Oh, man.
Right.
That's a bummer.
Yeah,
well,
no.
I don't know. Okay, so here's my initial thought.
I've got 2. Yeah, Go ahead.
You want to go first, Tom?
No.
I've been
leading the past couple.
I'm the girl then. All right, deal.
Go ahead.
Get in my door for me. So weekend girl. So I'm assuming like he used to go out with you on the weekends. Okay, but now you're weekday night girl, which could mean he wants to spend more time with you, right? It could also mean you've given up the cookie, and if he invites you over on the weekday nights, he can get consistent cookie. What I'm trying to reach for here is you're no longer the weekend girl. So are there weekend girls, or is he just going out on the weekends to like see his friends and he's just hanging out with his guys? But because you guys are seeing each other more regular, you can see one another at your own houses. You know, like maybe you're going to his place or he's coming to your place during the week. And because it's more regular, you know, and you can hang out for 2 hours. It doesn't have to be all night. It's just more casual, and he wants to get more time with you. So he's giving you Monday through Friday, but then he's out with his friends on Saturday, Sunday, or Friday night and Saturday night. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But the question said weekend. Is it saying that there's a weekend girl now?
She doesn't say it, but she's implying it.
Okay, so if he's out fishing, man, I'm reaching here. But I feel like if he's out on the weekend still fishing for women, but you're his woman during the week, you gave up that cookie, and now he's got consistent cookie, but then he wants to like go find new cookie on the weekend. That's what I'm thinking. So I don't necessarily think he's over you. I just think it's like you're that consistent side chick now, and he's still out doing it. Or I guess you're the at home chick,
which doesn't mean you're off the table either. Right.
Well, hold on a minute, man. Because if I'm a girl, right?
You don't want it, of course.
Girl. I'd be worse than Bruce Jenner. I'm a big ass girl. Here's my thing. If he is fishing for other women on the weekend, but you're hanging out with him all week, and is it sexual, something like that? Like this is where self-respect comes down, and then you got to have a conversation.
Yes.
And if he's like, well, hey, we're not exclusive, like we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm still doing my thing. Okay, so then technically per like dating law, he's not breaking any laws, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean that you have to be okay with it. And this is where, you know, if it's assumed of what we're talking about, maybe have some self-respect as a woman and just say, hey, listen, if I'm going to be seeing you during the week and I come over and watch Family Guy and whatever bullshit we're doing during the week, I still want to hang out with you on the weekend and have some fun because, look, man, I work too.
Yes.
And the weekends are fun for us, but you're out fishing for other girls, and like, look, that's just not my style. So, and I guess at part 2, we're going to get to phases of men. He might not be in the right, like, he might really like you, and he might love that you're his at-home chick all week, but he still can't settle himself down, and he's still doing that stuff on the weekend. He might be a really good guy. You're just getting him in the wrong phase of his life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or maybe just after something. We'll get more specific. I don't want to elaborate too much on that because we'll get that to part 2, but I think you're grabbing that guy in the wrong phase. So if he's a solid, great guy and everything is going well, he's just fishing on the weekend, but you're around during the week because you're convenient and because he's already established some rapport with you, he can smash that during the week or hang out with you during the week and have his woman time there. But then he needs a different woman on the weekend. Like, can he just not be alone? Or does he just have to go find that? Either way, if we're assuming he's like a solid guy, solid enough for you to date and be sexual with and see him during your week, I think he's a really good guy in the wrong phase.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that.
And the asterisk to all of this is finding out if he actually has other girls that he's seeing on the weekend, or if he's just using that time to hang out with his buddies because he can't do that during the work week, right? So I know for me, my work week is 1,000 times more valuable than like a weekend, right? If I were dating somebody, I wouldn't be doing shit during the week, right? I got to work out. I got to prep my food. I got to work. I got to focus on all that stuff. I got shit to do. Seeing a girl in the work week, that's way more valuable to me than seeing somebody on the weekend.
But you're a dude, you food prep.
And that's also me.
Less than 1%
out of the equation.
Less than 1% of America food preps, moron.
Full disclosure, I started doing that like 2 weeks ago again for the first time in like 2 years.
Dude, I'm down 17 pounds. You and I are.
I know.
Hey, what's up, man?
That's good, bro.
Let me show that off. You and I are getting Shred City.
So don't assume that he's seeing somebody else. However,
well, for the sake of the conversation, it sounds
let's say he is. So if he is, stop. It sounds like you're too available. Like, that's the other thing too. If you're too available for somebody, if you're always around to go during the weekday to hang out with them, are you not doing enough with your life that you shouldn't be as available for him?
Yeah, or maybe she gets off at 5 p.m. and dude, she's chill at night. And because for me, I'm chill. Like if I've got free time, yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, but
you're right. See, men, we're morons. Okay, we're idiots. If you're making yourself too available for that man, like, yeah, he's gonna go do something else on the weekend, and then do guys need their guy time? This is like, I get so much shit from guy friends sometimes, and I am not pussy whipped. Okay, like I whips the pussy, right? I am not pussy whipped.
Yeah.
Right, I think was that Friday After Next? I don't whip, right? I ain't pussy. I whip. Look, for the record, I whips the pussy. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Especially,
that needs to be an Instagram photo quote. The quote, I whips
that pussy. Yeah. Right. Here's the deal. Especially when I was just getting an okay, or like, dude, I don't need that much guy time. Like, I'm at work all day. Like when I was at that fitness company, when I was in the Marine Corps. Look, man, I see all those swinging dick. I see you motherfuckers all week. I don't need to see. Look, man, I don't need that much guy time.
It's true.
A guy's not, dude. You and I have had one guy night in a year. Okay, I love you. You're like my favorite human, right? But listen, bro. If Kate was like, "Hey, want to do this?" Yeah, I do.
Same.
And if you're like, "Well, hey, man, we were gonna go putt-putt," I'm like, Eli, get out of my face right now, bro. Like, so when guys want too much guy time,
it's annoying.
It's super annoying. I'm like, hey, do you know how pretty that girl is?
Yeah.
Do you know? Hey, she's trying to dive in and give you her time, and you get to know her. Like, look, man, your homies are going to be around no matter what. What are you doing right now?
Yeah.
And again, it makes me go back to phases. Like you're just, or maybe a guy's overthinking, and he's like, well, I can't be that available. I got to go do all my guy stuff to establish my dominance in the relationship that I'm not giving these things up once I'm a boyfriend. You don't have to do all that. You just got to communicate. So kind of a layered question as you start diving into it. But for me, man, I don't need that much damn guy time.
No.
I enjoy my lady time.
So for this girl, start saying no. Stop going over there during the week. See if he invites you out on the weekend. If he doesn't invite you out over the weekend and you're unavailable during the week, hey, probably not going to work out.
Yeah. Or maybe you should go find you a weekend guy and just, just do what he's doing. I'm shooting from. I'm being a smart ass right now. Don't take that advice. Be a good human. If you respect yourself, do it. But hey, listen, whoever wrote that question, if you're, I don't know, I can't remember who wrote it, but if you're listening and you can kind of clarify on some of that, I would love some clarity.
All right. So should you tell your current significant other about your ex texting you, and should you apologize? All right. So your ex texts you. Should you tell your significant other, and are you obligated to apologize about it?
Man, I went through this.
Let's hear it. You had a prior.
Fat, you should be, man, this is so valuable for you right now, bro. Being young and pretty like you are, and hopefully we're feeding you some good stuff. So, man, not only did I go through this, it wasn't just text messages, it was phone calls.
Oh, boy.
And, dude, here, you know Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah.
Kate and I had a couple, we'll call them little tissies. We had little, arguments. What are you, like a couple months in, you have a couple of debates here and there. And ironically, like the 2 or 3 times we were having like a little tissy, right? Yeah. My ex would call. And again, guys were idiots, right? Well, not necessarily, because I wasn't doing anything inappropriate. But my phone is hooked up to my truck. It's Bluetooth. So it's not like my phone is sitting there and you can't see it and it's on vibrate. No, man, it would ring and then my huge screen in my truck would show up and it had her name on it.
Yeah.
Right? And man, just the timing of that was terrible. But that's why I just articulated like, hey, do you want me to answer that? And she's like, no. Like, and I just said, hey, I'll answer that right now so you know it's not inappropriate. Like, I'll let you say whatever she wants. I'll let you hear whatever she wants to say.
Yep.
And I'm going to sit here and respond just like I would if you weren't here. But, hey, I'm not messing around with her. Like, I'm not connected to her. I'll answer it right now and let you sit here in silence and see that, right? Yep. And she trusted me. But just the timing of it sucked, dude. And we, I spoke to her, I said, hey, I don't know why she's calling. So I remember I didn't call her back. And I was like, I can't remember what we were arguing about. I was like, I'm not going to call her back. And she's like, okay, well, good. And I was like, yeah, I'll block her. It's all good. And she's like, good, right? I didn't block her. Not because I didn't want to block her, because I'm still getting over this tissy and I'm getting back to work. And oh, God, I'm an idiot, right? And then, dude, the next tissy, it's like girls got a meter. Right? Like when they know like their ex or something that they maybe want back or want to be involved with is like having an argument with their new girlfriend. It just like some like sensor goes off, like their avatars, dude, bro. They know. And they just know, right? Like, gotta call again. And she's like, I thought you blocked her. So again, just being honest, right? I go, hey, listen, like, you're completely right.
Right.
And I didn't call her back and I also forgot to block her. So it's not her fault that she's calling again. And that didn't go over well, saying that it's not my ex's fault, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm defending her.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, hey, it's not her fault. Like, I didn't call her back to, like, set that standard. And then it also led to me forgetting not to, to block her. So, I handled it that next time. But I would say, like, so that sucked. But just communicating through it. And, like, something I've always had from the get-go with her, is trust. Like, hey, look, until I prove you wrong, I need you to trust me. I can't have you bring baggage from other people into this. And Kate didn't really have any baggage, man. She dated like 1, maybe 2 people prior to me. Like nowadays with online dating, all stuff, man, where like you've not necessarily been sexual with people, but you've been on like 100 dates. Who knows what you're thinking of people? So I always had that standard of like, look, until I prove you wrong, I need you to give me benefit of doubt so we can communicate and work through stuff. And And it worked. So I would say in regards to this question, if your ex is texting you, should you tell your significant other and should you apologize? Well, here's the deal. If you were supposed to block that person and you didn't, well, yeah, maybe apologize because it's your fault that it's actually coming through.
Right.
But if that hasn't been the agreement, you're just normal. They text well, it's not your fault they texted you. So I wouldn't. And girls, be super careful being sorry. Right, like don't be, and you know what, guys too. Like sometimes we always say I'm sorry. It's just like a natural response. Oh, I'm sorry about that. But there's not necessarily a reason to be sorry. Hey, look, if someone text messages you, and you didn't have any reason to prevent that, and you couldn't prevent it, and it's civil, and you don't necessarily feel like you need to block someone until they cross lines and they text you, you don't need to apologize for that. That's not your fault. Secondly, the context of what they're texting you is where it's super important. If they're being inappropriate, yeah, you got to say something, and you got to just let them know, hey, look, so-and-so texted, it's not so appropriate. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to let them know, I'm with you, and I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to block them. So it's on you to, not necessarily apologize, but you got to handle business, man.
Yes.
You really got to set boundaries and just set those expectations, not only of someone else, but put yourself in their shoes.
Yes.
Right? You got to be able to set those expectations and make sure that you draw lines, and whether you're exclusive quite yet or not, and Kate and I talked about this a long time ago, leaving doors open. Okay. So maybe you're not exclusive, or you haven't said we're boyfriend, girlfriend, or maybe you have. Either way, are you devoting your time and attention to that person? And are you leaving doors open? Because look, man, if you're leaving doors open for these little maybes and maybe reach back out or text you here and there, that's like having a plan B in business. So that's kind of like doing 9 different things, but you're not really diving into your primary.
On one, right.
Yeah. And then you got to ask yourself hey, why are you doing that?
Yes.
Why are you leaving those doors open? And if you are, is that hindering maybe some of your progress with this person, especially trust? Because if you're starting to wobble on that trust super early on, it's just not going to go well. So, but to be direct for this question, I don't think you should necessarily apologize if you can't control that they message you and there was no outstanding reasons to block a person, right? But definitely let them know, and depending on what they're text messaging you, hey, my mom's in the hospital.
Right.
Something happened to her and you were dating this guy for 5 years and you know his mom. As a guy, I'm hey, that's cool. Do you want to go see her? I'm secure. I'm not going to make you not see someone that was maybe a big piece in your life, for a long time and she's not doing well. I'm not going to take that from you. Maybe I'll want to go with you. Maybe I'm reaching right now, but maybe it's not good for new boyfriend to come over, right? So now I just got to trust that you're going to go see his mom and not get inappropriate with him.
Right.
So I got to trust you. Or if it's just small talk, well, are you leaving that door open and why? Okay. What would you like me to perceive? If I'm your new boyfriend, what do you want me to perceive? Right. And then thirdly, if it's extreme, yeah, I get it. If it's small talk, you're leaving a door open. If it's inappropriate, you should probably draw the line. And here's the deal. If it happens one time and you just take care of it, do you necessarily have to bring it up? Not necessarily. You take care of it and it doesn't happen, cool. But if it happens again, maybe say something, because what you don't want to do is it happen a third or fourth time from a new number, even though you blocked him, he's crazy, and he gets a new number to text message you. What you don't want now is to look sloppy.
Yes.
Right. And look, 6 months down the road, he text messages you again, and now you look bad to your significant. So if it happens one time and you handle it, not necessarily, but if it's something that's slightly become a pattern, I think you should be open and honest about it and just let them know that you're going to take care of it and handle it.
Yeah. I think, again, any communication is always the good answer, right? More communication is always the right answer, I think. So,
and guys, man, this is where, not to bag on guys, this is where guys, when women open up and they're honest and they're telling you about things, this is where you really have to do your best to give that girl benefit of doubt.
Yeah. Okay.
And really try to support what she's doing, because that honesty is huge, and you don't always have to like what she's going to say. And girls, you don't always have to like what a guy's going to say. But when people are opening up and they're being honest, you got to put your whole personal on being attacked aside, and you got to listen to what they're trying to say, and you got to really put some effort into that communication, man, because that's what's going to set you up to be successful.
And I think with couples, it's very important to make sure that there's an environment where you can have open communication, because if you're so afraid that your current girlfriend is going to lose her shit, if you just say, hey, my ex sent me a text, but I handled it. Yeah. There's a lot of girls that would lose their shit over that. And if you don't make your boyfriend feel comfortable enough to be able to communicate that with you, then he's going to start keeping things from you.
And vice versa.
Right.
Men. And dude, men are vulnerable. Men are insecure. Men are the same thing women are.
They are.
And this is a whole nother podcast, but because there's things that there's stigmas that society puts on women, and there's stigmas that society puts on men.
Right.
One of the stigmas that I felt before that society puts on men is that we're strong and independent and confident. Look, men shame their bodies. They're insecure about their bodies. They're insecure about their success. They're insecure about a lot of things. They're vulnerable to a lot of things. But because of society's stigmas, per my opinion, we're not allowed to be, which means we start bottling shit up, or we stop talking to you because it's super, super embarrassing to be vulnerable to something like that. And then we do open up, and then you're not open to us talking, like it, and it's going to shut us down big time. So
it does.
Big points, man. Is that the last question for the day?
That's it.
I'm going to ask one more.
That's it. What you got?
Let's see if I can find a short one.
There you go. Bottom half.
All right. So the bottom half is for next week.
Yeah. Told you we got a lot.
Oh man, we got a ton.
I know. Will's finding one more for you guys here.
No,
one more.
Want to make a trip to Kentucky?
Oh boy, got a question. Is that?
They're probably talking about you. You're pretty.
No way.
No, we're not coming to Kentucky. We're staying our loyal asses in Denver.
That was for a day $1 tour, I'm sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving benefit of doubt.
Yeah.
I bet it was probably more of a
Right.
flirtatious. But if you're asking me, I'm staying in Denver.
That's right.
I got kiddos and a baby mama.
That's right. Who has an amazing blog.
She does. Oh, it's intriguing.
See?
Well, I guess, so for today, I guess we're going to wrap it up.
That's it.
I hear we're getting some great engagement. Obviously, I don't want to watch this while we're doing it, but Friday, we're going to kick part 2 off. If you have any questions in the meantime or some rebuttals and you want us to recap or retouch a couple of things or ask some things in addition to Friday, we're going to get these questions. And so if it has to be 3 hours on Friday,
we'll do it.
We're going to give it 3 hours.
We're going to finish it out.
I want to make sure we do it right.
Cool.
From Denver.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Happy Friday.
Happy Monday.
Excuse me. It will be Happy Friday. Happy Monday. Later.